What's going on, everyone? We are here on the KR version of Throne and Liberty, where a major update has dropped for the combat, bringing about a bunch of changes to existing skills and their functionality, as well as adding new abilities to the weapons, and most importantly, the incorporation of the skill specialization system, which can be applied to every single skill. This is important because this is going to be in on the Western release of the game. So for those of you who played the NA and EU beta, what you saw there is not the final product and not what you're going to be playing on launch. So take what you saw with a little bit of a grain of salt. But we're going to go through, we're going to talk about the changes, show you some of these changes, and show you the new skill specialization system and how it works and some of the cool things that can be done there. We're not going to show you every single change to every single ability. That can be in a separate video. But for right now, we're going to just show you some of them. The first thing I want to talk about that's changed, and this is a big one in just terms of overall feel for gameplay and builds, is every skill that you have and all your passives now start with their maximum functionality. And what I mean by that is the abilities originally started at green quality level 1, and you would rank them up to blue and purple to gain new effects on them. For example, Da Vinci's Courage, you would rank up to purple all the way to get that 15% attack speed effect that it gave. Now, it just gives it right away at level 1 green, and you have that attack speed effect. You have less max health and health regen from the ability, but that's because you're going to level the ability still from green to blue to purple. You're just going to increase the effectiveness of the skill, but you have its full functionality. This also applies to your passives. Vital Force, you gain the magic melee and ranged hit and the skill damage boost right away from the get-go at level 1 green. It's just at a much lower effective value. We're still going to level it up from green to blue to purple, and it's just going to make those effects stronger, but you have the full functionality from the get-go. This is really important because it helps make a lot of abilities have their full use early on and feel better and bring some builds online a little bit earlier, and that's really important for just overall feel of these skills and, weapon combinations that you're trying to use. That being said, there are some additional changes to some skills on all the weapons that have new functionality that make them feel better and more impactful and just useful in general. So we're going to show you one from the daggers and one from the greatsword. We're going to show you the base level 1 skill for the daggers, your Cleaving Moonlight. This is your spammable on a 6-second cooldown. And we're going to show you the dash attack on the greatsword, Precision Dash, which is, originally a pretty lackluster effect of a skill. So the first one is the Cleaving Moonslash. This is now a full 360 AoE around your character. You see it hits here in the front and it hits here in the back. It is going to hit multiple times as well. You can see there's multiple orange damage numbers. So that ability is now a very nice spammable AoE, which is going to come into play with some other on-hit effects that you're able to apply with the daggers, be it poison or lightning effects as well. As for the greatsword, the dash is now a freeform dash on the first cast. That's right. First cast, and it is a targeted dash for the second cast. So it's a 2-part dash now, one that can be used freely to move around anywhere you want, but the second dash needs to have a target for you to dash to it. The first dash, though, will always dash at max distance, so keep that in mind. If you're at point blank on a target, you're going to dash through that target and any other targets. But reuse, it'll go right back to that primary target, but it's not going to strike those additional targets on the way back. So that's a nice new cool use for the greatsword's dash ability. Makes it feel more impactful, more useful, gives it just a little more value from where it was before of just being this, little short range dash that didn't do a whole lot on its own. All of this is just further brought together by this new skill specialization system. So the skill specialization system becomes available at level 25, and you're going to gain skill specialization points as you level every single level from that point on that you're able to use to apply these effects. Some of you who maybe played Lost Ark, this might look like tripods to you. If that helps you understand it better, great. But basically, these are new effects that you're able to apply to these skills in order to enhance them or change them completely altogether. As you can see, right now we have 37 specialization points at level 29, and you can see each of these effects has a number of those skill points next to it. So if I put this one active right here, it's going to consume 10 of my skill points and put them there. So now I have 27 remaining skill points and 10 in use. And you can see that there's 10 points here by the daggers. What this means is that your skill points are shared between both of your weapons. So you need to allocate your skill points accordingly based on what you want. So you can see we've got 10 into the daggers and 10 into the greatsword. You can respec your points at any time, just completely wipe out the board at a single click of a button, or you can do it individually to refund them as well. There's no cost to it, so test builds out to your heart's content as much as you want. But just to show you some of these effects, we'll show you a simple one with Cleaving Moonlight, giving it the additional use effect. We'll give you a more interesting one here with Inject Venom, where we're going to turn it into Lightning Infusion. You see that it actually changes the icon of the skill as well. What that one does is it now turns the poison into a Thundercloud effect, which applies a debuff to the targets as well. That is going to allow for other lightning effects to be able to trigger. So we're going to take the knife throwing one, and we're going to take the lightning throw, and that's where that synergy comes into play. You see here, it gets that new lightning visual to it. But if you read it, it says if the target is wet, so if it's raining, or if they have thunderclouds, a random enemy within a 5-meter radius will receive the same damage. So just to show real quickly how that's going to work in effect, we're going to activate the Lightning Infusion. We're going to use this skill twice right here. The Cleaving, you can see the charged lightning effect on them. And then we're going to use the daggers, right? And you can see the lightning actually chained over here to this second one and applied the Thundercloud as well. So that's a really nice, interesting, unique synergy effect that you're able to get with some of these skills. That's going to allow for some much more interesting gameplay, and it's definitely more visually gratifying. And there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with some of these effects as well. So we're going to show you another little synergy that you can do. So we're going to take this point out of that for Cleaving Moonlight. We're going to take the lightning throw out there. We're going to leave the lightning infusion in, because what it is this applies thunderclouds to all attacks. All right. So we're going to take our remaining points. We're going to go over here to the greatsword, and we're going to show you Devastating Tornado. We're going to make it an Ice Tornado that increases the attack speed of this skill by 100% and is going to apply a ice effect to it. All right. That's going to apply a stacking ice effect that at 10 stacks will root the targets and apply Icebound. And we're going to go Gaia Crash, which is Frost Cleaving right here. Change it into a Frost Cleaving skill. And this is now going to change it from that line AoE into a general circled AoE around your character that will do increased damage to a target if they are Icebound. So we're going to take that right here. We're going to activate that Lightning Infusion, and that Lightning Infusion is going to get applied with all of our Whirlwind Strikes, and you can see the Icebound effect building up there. And we're going to go Gaia Crash, and it's going to do a second eruption, and you can see it does increase damage to the rooted targets. And just these new visual effects, these changed functionalities on these skills definitely makes the gameplay more impactful and visually pleasing for sure. People talked about a lack of skill expression or wowness to it in terms of like being, impressed by how things looked and what skills did. And this is what's going to bring in, a little bit of that extra layer to it and make it a bit more interesting gameplay wise. So with that, everybody, that's the changes that are coming to the combat and the skill systems. We'll be seeing that on the Western release. I hope this was interesting for you. We'll go through and we'll show all the skill specialization effects once we get to max level here on KR. We'll show the great sword, sword and board, and daggers first. Those of you who know me know that we only play melee, so those are going to be main prio. If those go well, we'll do the other weapons also, just to be able to show all of their specialization changes also. But yeah, it's really cool. It's really exciting. It's definitely makes it a much more interesting gameplay. I'm definitely more interested in it and looking forward to seeing that on release. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have questions, you can catch us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zav. Enjoy. Have a good one.